What's up, what's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and this is take two, starting at, sorry, Twitch chat. But welcome into MVP Games Live, the new time for MVP Games Live. We're no longer after Sports Live. We're now at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. That'd be 2 p.m. On the Pacific, the West Coast. Soapy and I, as always, I should say, joined by my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
Soapy, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. This is like the one time this week I'm not tired, so.
And it's also probably the one time this week and forever that you're probably in a good mood. I'm in a real shitty mood.
Yep. How the tables have turned.
Oh, but and if you're asking, well, Ricky, why are you in a bad mood? Don't worry, young Padawan. We are going to get to that in quite a second. As we're talking, it's a Rock Jock Jam of PlayStation. I think this is the only time I've used Rock Jock Jam, and it's actually made sense. As our first 4 topics are all PlayStation to start the show. Then we got a little Nintendo and Xbox dabbled in right at the end for inclusion. But before we get into everything, let's go over housekeeping. Number 1, join the Discord if you're not in it already. YouTube, that link is down below in the description. Twitch chat, all you got to do is !Discord, and you get the link to the Discord channel, a great place to talk to everyone, the great community we have with the Real MVP family. Then also patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go and support us. You get rewarded for supporting us, the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum levels. And thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. Last but not least, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. But we're also on YouTube, twitch.tv/MVPvids and MVP Entertainment on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe and follow at both places. Also, I forgot to say, if you sub to us on Twitch, you get the same rewards that a bronze tier supporter would get from Patreon, which is access to the Discord voice channels. But Soapy, let's get into everything we're talking about. And today, we're starting off the show with a little bit of Ricky anger. Because I'm just going to set the stage for everyone. Yesterday was the PS5 showcase, and I was very excited about it. I was excited going in. I thought the show was a good show. Looking back at it, I've watched a couple people react to it, and one of the things I did notice was a lot of, the Miles Morales. During the live reaction, it was oh, it's holiday 2020. I was wrong. But then after the show, they were oh, no, it's coming out launch day. So I was oh, cool. I was right. But I didn't get to have that oh shit moment of, yeah, fuck yeah, I was right. But after the showcase, Soapy, shit kind of hit the fan because when they released the price and they released the date, okay, it's coming out November 12th. Everywhere else, November 19th. These are the prices. It's going to be $400 and $500. Pre-orders will start tomorrow. So I thought to myself, cool. I can get up early today, which would be Thursday. I could get up early, get my pre-order in. I can make sure that I get my copy of PlayStation. But no, why should anything be easy, Soapy? Why should a company like Sony make things easy for their consumers? Why? Would that make any sense? No, wouldn't make any sense at all. Immediately, there were pre-orders. During MVP Sports Live, towards the end, this guy in Twitch chat was cool, I got mine. And I'm what the fuck? They're already going? And after MVP Sports Live, everywhere was sold out. Walmart sold out. Target sold out. Best Buy is sold out. I looked at Sam's Club. Bed Bath & Beyond apparently has them. They're sold out. You're telling me. I found it on Twitter. I started diving into Twitter of where can I get this fucking pre-ordered? Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sam's Club, everywhere sold out. Amazon, you name it, sold out. GameStop, sold out. And I am panicking, Soapy, because this is the big, this is a clusterfuck to where it's even about at 1 o'clock my time, there were a lot of people tweeting out okay, cool, I got my email from PlayStation. And I'm going to even pull it up now. I'm not expecting to see anything in my in my inbox. Let me type in PlayStation. Um, let's see. Have I gotten an email? Nope. The last email I got was thank you for your purchase on the 27th. Yeah, that's right, Sony. I'll give you my money any way you can. But it's just I dove into Twitter on those, and of course the influencer side is like I get it. The people who are bigger influencers, of course they're gonna get on this list. I knew that. Like, whatever. That's just how the world works. But the thing that really upset me, Soapy, was that there were people in Twitter saying, oh, I got my free invite, but guess what? I can't pre-order it now. So I'm pretty bummed. And I'm like, great. You wasted an invite. Like, you gave it to this person who now isn't going to use that pre-order. You've wasted it. You could have given it to someone like me who is going to give you your money right away. And, like, the thing with this is I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm obviously the person that is like, I feel stupid because this is not going to sway me away from PlayStation. Like, I am so much of a PlayStation pony that I will just find a way to get a PlayStation no matter what means. The thing that I'm banking on is that Walmart will have them the 22nd, so the same day you're going to get your Xbox. I'm hoping that I can pre-order it there because Walmart said they should be getting more pre-orders in stock. But, like, yeah, this is a complete shit show, and I don't know what the fuck Sony was thinking and how this shows their lack of planning when it comes to this whole pricing and pre-order kind of plan that they've had.
Yeah, and man, as an Xbox fan, dude, I'm just watching this with glee. You know, obviously, I've moved past the console wars. I understand PlayStation will always outsell Xbox. I understand at this point they're going for two separate things. It's like Sony has carried on the console war, while Xbox has basically been like, hey, we just want people to be able to play video games.
Yeah.
So with that front, I think, especially sorry, I don't mean to basically interject on my own self here, but man, do I love the little slight jabs Microsoft keeps throwing.
It's great.
I love them.
It's great. The one on Twitter was the best. The one on Twitter was the absolute best.
Yeah, and that's like the only thing I'll miss from the console war is basically just the companies taking shots at each other.
Little pop shots here and there.
Yeah. Well, because, like, for instance, with I mean, Sony's, I wouldn't even really say it was a pot shot at, like, the Game Pass. It was just them saying we don't think subscription services are good.
Yeah.
Even though that's what you're paying online for. Online's basically a subscription.
They say that, but then they announce the PlayStation Plus collection.
Yeah, they'll pull some stupid bullshit of, like, well, that's not a...
Because didn't they say not a Game Pass thing. That's just a collection. Us giving back to the fans who move on to PS5.
Like, it's like, wow. Because didn't they say something stupid about, like, it's a one-time purchase or something like that? Which, if it is, that's not bad.
What do you mean a one-time purchase?
I thought I saw somewhere, and obviously this may just be me talking to my ass, or I saw someone lying about shit on Twitter. But I thought I saw someone say that, like, oh, like, the collection was literally just a one-time purchase. Which, if it is, like, that's cool and all, but, like, it's only PS4 games.
Yeah, well, it's for anyone who has PlayStation Plus, which you need it to play online, so most people have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, so, I mean, look at that, you know, you can trash talk Game Pass all you want, Sony, but you basically have it.
Yeah, you basically do.
Just under a different name.
I just, with me, it's like, how could Sony, like, and my biggest question, Soapy, is just, how could Sony come in and be so unprepared with this? To where it's like, so many, like, I'm not the only one that is in this boat. I've got a couple, or at least I hope, I've got a lot more people in this boat with me, to where people went on like me, where it's like, okay, cool, I got until tomorrow, I can go ahead and do my own thing. Like, for me, it was go on to Sports Live, but there's other people, I can take a nap, I can go kind of deal with my kids for a little bit. And then it was like shortly after that, Jeff Knightley, Knightley, who the guy, the Game Awards guy, Knightley,
Yeah.
or I say Knightley, that's not his name, but Jeff is then tweeting stuff about pre-orders, and it's like, how could Sony let this get to where it got? Like, how hard does it take to kind of get all your ducks in a row of like, okay, like, I know there's a lot of retailers to kind of manage, but like, if you're putting your product out there, like, Xbox is doing it just fine. Like, I don't think it's that hard to get all your ducks in a row of like, this is how pre-orders are going to go. This is what time you put them live. This is all the information that we want. And there's some people out there that are kind of speculating of, did Xbox dropping their date force Sony into a little bit of a catch-up that they were not prepared for?
I think there's a bit of that, but I think it's also, I don't know if did we report on it yesterday of Sony potentially having like problems with one of the things in their console?
Yes, we
like
did
the chip woes or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was 2 days ago. We did that on today's Thursday, on Tuesday. We talked about that, where apparently that was the case, but then Sony said no, it's not. And then we had the discussion of, do we trust Sony or not trust Sony in that comment.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with this, I almost feel like there is some truth to that. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as like wide scale as like what was reported.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, also it may be like they may have just started production. Mm-hmm. I think that's my main thing of they have this projected amount that they're just like, all right, obviously now since they see, all right, like pre-orders sold out in an hour, basically. Like, I would not be surprised if we hear about like, oh, you know, like if we do see another wave of pre-orders. Obviously, in my opinion, I think PlayStation should have taken the same approach as Microsoft and set it to a later date.
Yeah.
And not just be like, oh, tomorrow, because then you're going to get the people who sit there on their computer and refresh until 12 p.m.
And not just that. The thing that I also put it like, let's say that was the case of like, holy shit, we didn't expect this many people to want them. Then why did you put out that the thing that I signed up for, that the reason, like, I know Greg Miller, how he got his pre-order was through this. Why did you have that list then of like, okay, put in your PSN here, and then we'll go ahead and send you an invitation to the pre-order if you get selected? Like, shouldn't that have given you a little bit of a base? Like, of course, that's not going to be everybody, because some people might not have known about it. There's different variables to where not everyone would do that. But wouldn't that give you enough of a base of like, okay, these are just the people that are coming through our website to try to get pre-orders. There are going to be more than this, to where it's like they should have had a mindset of like, okay, if this is how many people we have signed up, we should have before we put pre-orders live, we should make sure we have a little bit more than this number so that we don't get just fucking slammed at the pre-orders.
Yeah, and I almost kind of wish what they would do is, and obviously I know when you hear pre-order, it's like, oh, you expected to get the day off. I almost kind of wish like what Sony would do is do not stay quiet on this, because that is not a good PR move.
No, it's not.
You're basically ignoring that people are like, hey, so what are you guys going to do? And they're just like, don't care.
Yeah.
And what I was kind of thinking they at least could try to do, if they know they're not going to get that many consoles out right away, like have it basically like pre-orders get sent out in increments. Of where it's like, oh, like the group of people that got the first pre-order wave gets it on what, it comes out the 19th or 12th, something like that.
The 12th, and then the second wave. So everyone who doesn't get it on the 12th will get it on the 19th.
Yeah,
but for the US, for the US where we are, it's the 12th.
Okay. Yeah. So, like for instance, I would say prior, and obviously I know some people would be like, oh, of course, America's being prioritized, but it's like that's also where you sell the most consoles at. So it's one of those things of like, it's a catch-22 of where like other people are going to get pissed off hearing it, but like you kind of got to sell consoles in your biggest market first. And obviously, I know some people could argue like Japan's more of their main market because that's where Sony's from.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is though, they ain't beating Nintendo in my fucking lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it now where it's like I wanted to see PlayStation's Twitter to see if they've like said anything, and they've had some tweets about Demon Souls. They retweeted something from the Godfall Twitter, but there's a tweet from 3 hours ago. We're right now at like about 4:30 Central Time, on Thursday. It says PS5 launches this November, full pricing and launch details, and then has like the Bitly link, and it's got the video of just like when they revealed it yesterday with the prices. And I've got the dates actually right here with it. So it's November 12th is US, Japan, Canada. So US, Canada, Mexico. So all of North America. You've got Japan and South Korea. And then Australia and New Zealand get it November 12th. Everyone else is November 19th. So
Okay.
I don't know why they split them up into those regions. I kind of get why, because it's like, okay, we can focus on our biggest kind of like the US, Japan. We can focus on our biggest markets first so that we don't like, because production is a thing. And that you do that so that you don't like slam yourself that way. But like, I look at that, I click on that tweet, and like, I just look at the replies, and it's people like, Sony, say sorry to all the fans who won't get a PS5 at launch because of how you handled your pre-orders. Come on now, not cool at all. Imagine not having a PS5 pre-ordered. There's a video, someone put a video of like someone beating someone up in a GameStop, and it says when people start finding out GameStop employees are hiding digital PS5s. And then like more of like, oh, Xbox Series X will destroy the flop station. I don't think this is going to, I agree with you, Soapy. I don't think this is going to be something where enough of the masses say fuck PlayStation and go over to Xbox. I know that JD in our Discord, he said that he was thinking like, he made a comment of like, well, if he can't get his hands on a PlayStation, he's thinking about pre-ordering an Xbox. So he has something at launch. And for me, I'm almost in the same boat of like, if I can't get a PlayStation pre-ordered, my only choices are wait until launch day, see if I can order one on launch day, and then wait for it. Or my second option, because I do plan this time around, I do plan to try to get a PlayStation and Xbox, not right away, but at some point I want both of them. Because like when Halo comes out, I want to experience that Halo game. If they come out with a new, like there will be a new Gears game in the lifetime of the Series X, I would like to experience that Gears of War game. But
and
like,
also, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
You could also play through all the Gears games with me because they're all on Game Pass.
Exactly. So like I can go back, play those. I can play the new one because like I said, Gears is gonna have a new game on the Series X. It would be like impossible for them to say no, it's not. And it's just I'm upset as a fan of PlayStation that they have let it get to this point, because the thing that I am sitting here and I realize it. I realize how the world works. Like you watch all these podcasts and people talk about gaming, and most of them are not going to be in the spot that I'm at because they've got a bigger following than us. And that's just how the world works. Based on how many eyeballs are on your product, that's where corporations are going to be like, hey, we can give them something so that people see it, and then that gets eyes on our product. I understand that. But yet again, I also understand why then you go to these podcasts and these people that talk about games. It's like, of course you're not upset. You have your pre-order set up. It's the rest of us that are on the other side that are like, what the fuck do we do now? And I can't believe that Sony would put us in this situation. I wish they would have I would have been even okay with it, Soapy, if right as they announced it, if they said pre-orders live right now, then at least I know. At least you're prepping me for okay, because then I could have told Dave, hey, we're pushing the show back. I'm ordering my PlayStation. and I would have had that happen rather than an hour and a half later because they basically sold out in fucking... People say they sold out in an hour. They sold out in 10 minutes. That's what I'm thinking. Like, it did not take long for these things to sell out. And it's just... It irritates me at, like, this is how Sony is going to treat the fans. But yet again, I'm a stupid idiot, and I'm going to stay with PlayStation because I love all their exclusives, and I love playing the PlayStation so much. But let's move away from pre-orders and into something else, Soapy. So the PlayStation 5, the specs have been announced for it. The next two will kind of do together, I think. No, this is the one I'm thinking about. The size is also in this. So the specs have been released for it, and with the PlayStation 5 and the digital, the width, it's going to be about almost 15 and a half inches wide. Its depth is going to be just over 10 inches, and then its height is going to be 3 inches tall. So I'm thinking that can't be vertical. So that means if you're laying it on its side, from the table up vertically is going to be 3 inches. Its width across, so from if you're laying it, like putting it up vertically, it's going to take up 15 inches high. And then the depth of how much space is in between is 10 inches, if I'm reading that right. Just to give an example, Soapy, for everyone on stream, Soapy hit me up with this image. That's a little bit of a reference so you guys can see exactly how the PlayStation is going to look compared to the Xbox. Soapy, what are your thoughts on now that we've seen the size of the Xbox and now we see the size of the PlayStation and all the specs?
I mean, I mentioned it before we started the show. They basically pulled the old switcheroo on us. Normally it's the Xbox is the fucking hulking behemoth. Mm-hmm. And PlayStation's like the little slim console. And obviously, the X isn't small. We're not going to act like it's a really tiny thing. Like, that thing is still a fucking brick. Mm-hmm. But, like, just even looking at that picture, that thing towers over the X.
Yeah.
It's just like... It's like the X is just like the little fat kid, basically.
So, remember how I said I was going to oh, man, I think I'm going to put my PlayStation vertically when I get it?
No.
I'm not putting it vertically. That thing is going horizontally, my guy.
Yeah, it fucking has to. Like, for all the people that were like, oh, I'm going to be able to place my PlayStation vertical, it's not going to be that big. I have this little space right here for it. And it's like, nope, not anymore unless you got a fucking table that's got like a fucking foot difference between it, between the top and the bottom.
Do you want to know how much they weigh?
Probably a good amount.
So we'll start with the Xbox. How much do you think the Xbox weighs? Series X. We're not doing the Series S.
I was going to say Series S would be like 5.
Yeah.
I know it's not actually 5, but that thing looks light.
How many pounds do you think the Series X is?
I'm going to go 35.
35 pounds?
Yeah, dude, that thing's fucking beefy. It's a big boy.
It's about 9.8.
Well, close enough.
9.8 pounds for
Math
the
is not
X.
my strong... Math is not my strong suit, Ricky, all right?
So knowing the Xbox is about 9.8, almost 10 pounds. The PlayStation 5, so what,
it's going to be like 8 point something?
So right here, this is from Polygon, weighing at 9.92 pounds. The PlayStation 5 is almost the second heaviest PlayStation to date, behind the weighty launch model of the PS3, which weighed 11 pounds. The PS5 Digital Edition is a bit lighter at 8.6 pounds.
Okay, so I at least got the digital one right, or almost right.
Yeah, the digital is 8.6
just
pounds.
a little bit off with how heavy the Xbox was, but
I thought you said 38 pounds.
Oh, no, I did say 38, trust me.
Because I was like, I thought I heard you say 38. 38's nowhere near 8.6.
Well, no, I'm talking about whenever I said the PlayStation one, because I said 8.8.
Okay.
Because that's what I thought it was.
I didn't hear that. But yeah.
I mean, if I had to guess the S, I'm going to say like 4.
Let's see. The S is This article does not tell me the weight of it, but it measures 10.8 inches tall, 5.9 inches deep, and 2.5 inches wide.
Yeah, so basically it's a little baby console.
Yeah, it's a little baby console. But yeah, just a little bit of so you guys can see how much of an absolute unit. And I love how the Polygon article even says that. Sony's official PS5 specs confirm the console is an absolute unit. And for a second I was like, did Soapy become a writer for Polygon? Because that just seems like a headline that that you would write, Soapy, if you were writing for Polygon. The other PlayStation topics we have, they kind of go hand in hand in a sense. The first one is that we're getting a sense of the launch titles for the PS5. And it seems like games for the PlayStation 5, Soapy, will be $70. So the launch game starts, this is from Polygon.com. It reads, the PlayStation launches November 12th. Sony revealed the date and price of its newest console in a streaming showcase on Wednesday, along with several games expected or around the arrival. Here's the games they have listed in the article. Demon's Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales, called it, Godfall, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Astro's
so
Playroom.
To be fair with the Spider-Man one,
yeah,
it doesn't actually say that it's coming out. It's basically they're saying it's like a lock for it, where they basically think it may as well come out.
Yeah, well, Sony announced after the showcase that it will be available. It'll be available on PS5 and PS4. The day of.
Remember when Sony said that wasn't going to happen?
Yeah.
Because I remember. Sony, it's almost like you're backtracking a little bit there, buddy.
Yeah. So we got Godfall, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Astro's Playroom, which is kind of just like the preloaded, like DualSense controller thing. Destruction All-Stars, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and then like I don't know why they got Fortnite on here. Of course, Fortnite's going to be available. I wouldn't call Fortnite a launch title. But those look like our launch titles, Soapy. And the thing that I really wanted to kind of segue into, though, is the other side of this is, so those are the games, and PlayStation confirms that its PS5 games will cost up to $70. This is from Video Game Chronicles, where the exact quote is, on Wednesday, Sony confirmed that it'll launch the PS5, blah, blah, blah. Come on. Activision recently became the latest third-party publisher to price a next-gen game title at $70, with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War following 2K's NBA 2K21, which priced its next-gen version at $70. The cross-gen bundle was at $100. Soapy, what is your thought process now? I know we've talked about this before, but what's your thought process now that we know for sure next gen for Sony, they're going to experiment between 70 and 40, but it looks like 70 might be the traditional price for next gen games.
Man, it's going to be a real shame when we're still in a pandemic in the middle of November.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to find people that either they're barely able to get the PlayStation,
mm-hmm.
or, like, for instance, like people would probably have to buy into the cheaper PlayStation,
mm-hmm.
because, you know, they don't got $500 to sling around.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be real mind blown when they load it up and they see Miles Morales is going to be a big 70, or Demon's Souls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's, to me, and I do take the firm stance of I'm fine with some games
mm-hmm.
being 70. Demon's Souls should not be one. Demon's Souls should not be 70 because it's a remake of a game.
Well, and the thing that it did say here is there some smaller and family titles will cost less. So I'm assuming like a game like Demon's Souls is not going to be 70. I'm assuming like Miles Morales, Godfall, those will be your $70 games. Devil May Cry Special Edition, that's a unique one because yes, it's an older game, but it's a special edition to an older game. So I don't know where it's going to fall in that price range, but so here's where I'm at. I'm okay with the price hike because as we've talked about before, as many people have talked about, we haven't seen a price hike in games since 2005, I want to say it is. So it's been 15 years since we've seen games jump up, and that was from, what was that? That was from 50 to 60, right? They used to be $50 and they jumped to 60, where we've had them for the last 15 years. And here's my thought process. And yet again, I heard this from Greg Miller because I was watching his video on it today, because I wanted to see if I'm the only one outraged about the pre-orders. And him and Felicia Day kind of talked about this. And he said he wants to be on the optimistic side of, like, we talk about these game companies and these developers having to deal with crunch, and we tell them, don't crunch, don't do this, don't do that. And then it's like, hopefully this price hike in the games, how much of that is actually going to go to the people making the game? Or is this just going to be a Sony hikes it up, the developer gets like a penny, and then the rest goes to Sony? Like, that's the real, like, I'm okay with it if most of it is like, hey, people who actually make the game are going to get paid more, which means their time is more valued in a sense. But if that's not going to happen, then okay, now I'm going to have a problem paying $10 more a game if it's just going to go to the evil corporation of the world.
I mean, I 100% bet most of it's going to Sony still. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing.
I love it how I'm usually like the let's be optimistic. Sony's like the nah man, I'm the cynical guy.
Yeah, and my whole thing is crunch is never going away. And it's a shitty thing to say.
Yeah.
If a game comes out on a yearly release, there's bound to be crunch. No matter what happens. And trust me, I hate the idea of crunch. That's the main reason why I never wanted to get into video games. Like, why I never wanted to develop video games.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to be a game dev when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And then I learned what crunch was, and I'm like, ooh, do I want to work basically 100 hours a week? No.
Yeah. Well, it's also the sense of, like, look at when Spider-Man came out. Spider-Man came out. It was a great game. Everyone loved it. About a week, 2 weeks, when everyone beat it, what was everyone tweeting at Insomniac? When's 2 coming out? When's 2 coming out? Are you working on 2? And Insomniac even had to tweet out, whoa, we're taking a break. We just finished this one. We're going to take a little bit of time off. We're going to kind of enjoy what we've made. Like, that's another thing, too, of this, of, like, depending on, like, your release schedule of your game, even if it's like a God of War, a Spider-Man, to where it's like, once you finish that first game, it's almost like, all right, let's get started on the next one, to where it's like, you never get, like, it feels like, all right, you never get time off. It's just always the same grind. It's on to the next one after you finish it, and you don't get to, like, sit there and actually, like, appreciate your work for a second.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that I think needs to change from a gamer perspective. Mm-hmm. Of, yes, you beat the game. Now, obviously, you have more free time. And if you really love the game, you want a second one. But understand, if you make them start rushing it, the game's not going to turn out good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's the thing I really think people need to realize, of putting all this pressure on developers. Obviously, there's people who are like, oh, well, they should be able to deal with it. Like, they work for these multi-million, sometimes almost possibly billion-dollar corporations. It's like, the whole thing is, and I've said it before, I will say it again, I don't always want to be corporate America, Soapy, but man, damn it, is it coming out right now?
It comes out during the Epic Apple discussions. It comes out during a PlayStation discussion.
Well, I mean, it's more or less just for the gaming industry in general. Yeah. It's not so much PlayStation, but it's, people need to understand, corporations do not give a single fuck about you as a person. Mm-hmm. If you make them money, that is the only time they will care. The second you cost them money, gone. Because easily, and this is why I've always said the gaming industry is such a volatile business, because the second you start slacking, there's thousands of other people waiting on that door.
Yeah. It's like Shane O'Mac always taught us, man. Money talks. Like, that's just how it is. And, like, do I hate it about the world? Yeah. It's almost like, I know this has nothing to do with gaming, but it's like I was scrolling through Facebook last night before I went to bed, and someone on my friends posted a meme that was like the red pill, blue pill from Matrix. And it's like, which one do you take? The red pill, love and happiness. The blue pill, money and power. And like the comment section was just split right down the middle to where it's like, it sucks in this world that you can't like, I don't want to say that it's like money drives happiness, but it's like money influences happiness quite a bit. It's like the old Daniel Tosh joke of like, money can't buy happiness. Well, it can buy a wave runner. Have you ever tried frowning on a wave runner? Like, it's one of those things where money drives us. And I guess that's, people out there are probably saying, well, Ricky, that's called capitalism. Welcome to capitalism and the kind of world that you live in. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the $70, I don't think it's going to change everything much. I think it's just going to be like after the pandemic is the big thing that plays into it early. Because like you mentioned, Soapy, like there's people that are like, I can't buy the PlayStation and pre-order it like I thought I would be able to because of this, which I'm like, give me your code. Let me pre-order it because I've got the money to do it and I want to pre-order it. It's sad that you can't, but at least let my PlayStation life live on. Save a PlayStation life because PlayStation lives matter. But let's move on. Shorty but a goodie before we get into our last two steps, Soapy. And the first one is Nintendo-related news. It is a sad day, Soapy. You got to pour one out for the homie. The Nintendo 3DS is officially been killed by Nintendo. In a statement issued to Video Game Chronicles Network partner GameIndustry.biz, Nintendo confirmed that production on the handheld had ended earlier this year. We can confirm that the manufacturing of the Nintendo 3DS family of systems has ended. Nintendo and third-party games for the 3DS family of system will continue to be available in Nintendo eShop on Nintendo.com and at retail. The existing library of more than 1,000 3DS games contains many critically acclaimed titles and can provide years of content to explore and enjoy. Soapy, thoughts on the 3DS finally being killed by Nintendo?
I mean, dude, it's a oof. It just it's something that it's kind of weird, because personally to me, like obviously I know like consoles stop getting made and everything.
Yeah.
But like I don't know why it's always weird to see when Nintendo consoles are done being made.
Because they seem like they never die.
Yeah. Well, because it almost feels like. Because I'm gonna be brutally honest, I know what's already happened. Mm-hmm. I never fucking heard of when the DS got canceled or like when they stopped making it.
Yeah.
Like the original. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know why. Seeing the 3DS, I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, I remember that coming out.
Well, to me, this is not a big shock because, like,
you think it's old as dirt?
Well, no. It's not that it's old as dirt. It's you got to think of where Nintendo has gone with their system, where Super Nintendo, NES, GameCube, N64, all of these consoles were basically like your PlayStations and your Xboxes. You have it sitting there. You can't take it anywhere. That's why Nintendo, that's why the Game Boy thrived. That's why the DS thrived. That's why the 3DS thrived. Where Nintendo hit a market and they hit it well of portable gaming. Well, now with the Switch, where their main console is a portable console, it kind of makes sense that Nintendo would go, hey, why do we have to produce a 3DS system when our main system does the same thing with better graphics? Like, yeah, it's bigger, but like at the same time, it's still a portable gaming system that you can bring with you. And I could see where Nintendo's probably like, hey, we don't have to produce this 3DS anymore because we can put all of our focus in on the Switch.
Yeah, and I mean, it also doesn't help that 3DS is old now. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the whole thing is, it's just the world moves forward.
When did the 3DS come out?
I want to say like 6 years ago, I think.
Let's see how right Soapy is.
I mean, I'm probably wrong. It's probably like 8. Or hell, it could be 4. Who knows? I don't think it'd be 4 because I think the Switch came out, 2 years ago?
3DS came out in the U.S. March 27th, 2011.
Damn, it was 9. I was.
You were close.
I was close.
You were close.
Close enough.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. You were off by only a year. The Switch was.
Well, technically, my first guess was off by 3, and then I was like, it's probably older than that. So.
Why can't I find fucking the Wikipedia page for the Switch?
I think the Switch is 2 years
failing
old.
me. I think you might be right, but I'm like 3 years. March 3rd, 2017.
Damn it, dude. I'm always 1 year off.
Yeah, just 1 year. I'll give them to you, though. You're close. You were closer than I would have been. But yeah, it's a sad day, but I can understand why they discontinued it. The next thing for Shorty But a Goodie, Soapy, is something that you had mentioned yesterday on our PS5 showcase wrap-up, which you guys can watch, youtube.com, MVP Entertainment. According to Polygon, J.K. Rowling, not directly involved in creation of Hogwarts Legacy, Warner Brothers says. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling did not have a direct role in the creation of Hogwarts Legacy, the newly announced Wizarding World role-playing game, according to an FAQ from publisher Warner Brothers Games. J.K. Rowling is not directly involved in the creation of the game. However, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the Wizarding world, WB says in the FAQ. The company also notes that Hogwarts Legacy is not a new story from J.K. Rowling. While the answer is not entirely clear on whether Rowling has contributed to the project in any capacity, it suggests that her involvement is limited at most. This news should come as a relief to players instead in experiencing the world of Harry Potter through an open-world RPG, a dream decades in the making for many Potter fans. Soapy, what do you think about this?
It's good. Keep J.K. Rowling as far away from this thing as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the more she speaks about Harry Potter, the worse it gets. And it's not like, this is the thing. I may not agree with her like on a lot of things, but like when she bitches about the movies, which undoubtedly helped those books so fucking much.
Yeah. Because it made people and it made like younger kids want to read those books.
Yeah, because you're always told the books, like obviously there's the people who are like, oh, books are better than the movies. If someone loved the Harry Potter movies and they hear books are always better than the movie, they're going to want to read the book. And obviously, there is the whole thing of like, oh, well, I never specify in the book this. I never specify in the book that. It's like, Rowling, shut the hell up.
Yeah, movies take liberties and they don't like...
Unless you specifically state something, it don't matter.
Yeah. If it's implied, people can take it any way they want. It's just, for me, how many Harry Potter fans out there will still be on the side of like, nope, she created it, I'm not going to play this game? Because... I mean,
there's going to be people out there that do that.
Because here's where I stand with it, and maybe it's because I'm not... How do I want to put this? I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, I've liked the movies, except for, like, I think it was the 7th one that was split up into part 1, part 2. That one I couldn't stand because I remember my cousin and her boyfriend, who is also one of my friends growing up, they dragged me to this movie, and we watched it. And literally nothing happened. It was just all exposition, all talking. And then right at the end of the movie, it was like, bam, bam, spells. Here's your wizarding and boom, boom. And then boom, end credits. And I was like, so wait, what happened? And my cousin looked at me and she goes, you're going to have to wait for the next one. And I was like, what the fuck did I sit through this for? Just bring me to the next one. So that's why me and that, I think it's the Deathly Howls that was split into part 1, part 2, why I have a checkered past with part 1, because I was not set up for a movie with like zero action in it and all exposition that I did not care about at the time. And also with me, it's like, here's the catch-22 you fall into. It's either do you not buy the game because J.K. Rowling is a scumbag, and doesn't like equal rights and doesn't like equality for how people should be treated. I'm talking human rights. Or the other side of, do I buy the game for all the developers that made a world that I'm going to love because I'm a Harry Potter fan? I'm speaking as a Harry Potter fan in this hypothetical. Like, if you're sitting there and you're a Harry Potter fan, those are the two things you're juggling. Do I not buy it because I'm fuck J.K. Rowling's, or do you buy it to support the developers and the people who made the game because it looks like it's going to be a good game?
Yeah, and once again, like, that is the tough decision of, there are going to be people who say, no, I'm not buying this game because Rowling is an absolute shit human being.
Yeah.
And my whole wondering is, does she still get the, like, some of the royalties, like, if the Harry Potter movies are brought up?
I believe,
obviously, like,
I believe legally, but I think it would have been more of a, the way I would guess it is that Warner Brothers Games would have made a contract with her. Of like, are they paying her just an outright amount to use the IP for the game? Is there something in the contract where she gets like an X amount of the royalties of like what's bought? I don't know. I would say it would depend on the contract between the game company and Rowling.
Yeah, because I was thinking, whatever studio has the rights to the Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know, obviously. Yeah.
That's why they're able to make the game.
I mean, dude, fuck. If Warner wants to take her to a fucking legal battle, they'd lose. They definitely would, because as much as I don't like Rowling as a person, they can't completely cut her off from her own intellectual property that she trademarked.
I would not be surprised if she gets a little bit of the cut for everything sold, because it's her
I think it's just one of those
property.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, though. If I was Warner, I would tell her, Rowling, we understand, you have your own opinions on the whole world and everything, but, maybe don't mention anything about the game at all.
Yeah. No, it's just, and that's another thing I've heard brought up of like, this game, they've been thinking about, okay, when do we release it? When do we announce it? And they've almost been like trying to dodge a minefield of like, let's try to release it now. And then it's like, oh shit, we don't want to do that. She said something. It's like, just shut up so we can release this game. Has kind of been the kind of consensus around it. Last shorty, but a goodie. And this one might truly be a shorty because I'm throwing this in here, Soapy, because it's a Halo co-creator story. Halo's co-creators disintegration will shut down its servers months after releases from Video Game Chronicles. Disintegration, the shooter from Halo creator Marcus Leto, will shut down its multiplayer servers just months after release. Publisher Private Division and V1 Interactive shared the news via a media statement published on Thursday, in which the pair said there was not enough interest to continue supporting the multiplayer mode. Multiplayer will no longer be available after November 17th, and later today, a patch will remove the in-game store so no further transactions can be made by players. Soapy, how sad is this? And I mean just sad of like when any game has to like shut down a part of its gaming because of lack of interest.
I mean, it sucks, but once again, it's also, whenever I saw the title, I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say it, like, I was like, who?
Who?
Like,
Never heard of it.
Like, that was genuinely my reaction. I'm like, I have never heard of this thing before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm like, it doesn't surprise me. Like, obviously, you don't get me wrong, like, big games have slipped by me before.
Yeah.
But, like, literally never heard of that game in my entire life. Looked it up. I was like, man, I literally don't remember seeing a single thing for this game.
Yeah. No, same here. And it kind of reminds me of like, what was it called? Battleborn, where I know that one was a little bit different, where it had to go up against Overwatch, and it was the same game as Overwatch, and it lost that battle because Overwatch was a much more polished game. Battleborn was a 2K
just a little
game,
more polished.
But it was like, I played Battleborn. I got both of them, and I was like, shit, it's not that bad of a game. Overwatch was obviously better. But they had to shut down their stuff because it's like, no one's playing our game. Everyone's playing Overwatch. We need to shut it down. Last two things we're talking about, Soapy. The next one, this could probably be in Shorty but a Goodie because I don't think you and I are going to have much to say about it, but I wanted to bring it up nonetheless. Today, Nintendo Direct had a partner showcase. They called it a Nintendo Direct Mini. Here's all that was announced on it. You're going to have Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Rise was announced, which is a new Monster Hunter game that will be released March 26, 2020. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, arrives on Switch next summer. There was a Monster Hunter Direct revealed for more information on the two games. This was their big end capper to the show, was that Ori and the Will of the Wisps heads to Nintendo Switch later today, so it's probably live on Switch as you're watching this. They had Fitness Boxing 2, Rhythm and Exercise, will punch its way to Switch in December. I'm going to fuck this name up. Desagia 6, Defiance of Destiny, comes to Switch exclusively in the summer of 21. You have Balan's Wonder World brings a wondrous adventure to Switch next year. Rune Factory 5, The Long Dark, makes its way to Switch today. Hades arrived to Switch today. That's probably the only thing from this that I was most excited about, if anything. Empire of Sins brings a new strategy game to the Switch about like the Mafia. And then Sniper Elite 4 was announced for the Switch. Soapy, I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Anything from this Direct Mini tickle your fancy?
Not really.
See, I knew that. Like, for me, this is another, like, I hate it, but, like, with me and Nintendo, it's like, I feel like in order to like Nintendo games, you have to be a certain kind of person. Am I wrong with that? To where it's like, for example, the one that I couldn't pronounce, it's spelled DISGAEA, 6, Defiance of Destiny. It's like cartoon style and stuff. I was like, this game ain't for me, but I know people that I'm friends with that this game is for them. So it's like, Nintendo is like, I find it humorous of like Xbox and PlayStation are up here, and then Nintendo's like, we're just going to do our own thing over here. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's honestly, to me, I don't really care about any of these releases, and it's just because of the fact of like, I just don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing that,
like, I don't know how else to word it.
The only thing that jumped off the page to me was Hades, because when that was announced about a couple months ago, I think about a month or two ago, that one, the only reason why it intrigued me was, oh, you're playing as somebody who gets knocked into the depths of hell, and then you have to gain powers from the Greek gods, and its play style is Diablo. So it's kind of like Diablo in a sense. It's got that same kind of play style. So I was very intrigued about that game, and I was like, cool, that one I might go ahead and check out. Soapy, the very last thing we are talking about on the show today has to do with some Xbox news. The first one is Xbox Series S games will be smaller than the Series X's from IGN. Game install sizes are bigger than ever, so it's not unreasonable to be worried about the storage capacity of all the digital Xbox Series S. The lesser next-gen Xbox has a 512 gigabyte SSD compared to the full 1 terabyte on the more powerful Series X. However, one saving grace is that the game sizes will be smaller on the Series X. In an interview with IGN, Xbox Director of Program Management Jason Ronald confirmed the game install sizes will be approximately 30% smaller on the S than on the X. This is due to the reduced resolution texture packages needed for games on the S, which will be targeting 140p resolution instead of the 4K on the Series X. And then that kind of leads into the next one of IGN has another article where Xbox says developers won't be limited on the S, although the resolution will be more of that 1440p and not that 4K. Soapy, does this play into the S versus X debate for some people in your mind?
I mean, with some, the only thing is the difference with it's going to end up being do you want to play games that don't look as good as they could?
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is going to be the major deciding factor on a lot of people's choices to get the console.
Yeah.
Because obviously, some people don't have the money to get the X, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, if people only have, I mean, obviously with financing it's easier, but like, if someone just wants to buy the console straight out, obviously 300 is easier to pay for than 500.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also some people don't care about graphics.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, if I have the option of playing 4K, you bet your ass I'm getting 4K.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if I didn't care about the fact that I could play in 4K, like, I'd have no problem getting the S, and I don't think a lot of people would. I think it's just, we have this weird obsession with graphics in gaming, of where it's like, oh, if it's not looking the absolute best, like, it's just not worth our time, and it's like, I don't know. Some of the best games don't look the best.
I'll be completely honest. Yesterday, this guy, when I was doing the PS5 live reaction, he was like, "Oh my god, the ray tracing looks so cool." And I was thinking to myself, it just looks really nice and sleek. I can't even tell what the ray tracing is doing.
Yeah,
like it just looked like, wow, these graphics look like real people. I'm impressed. And really, when it comes to this, my thought was, if you're somebody who cares about the graphics, guess what? You're going to get the Series X. Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, if you care about graphics, you'll get the X. And this is just proving that the Series X is going to be for the casual gamers who are just like, hey, I just want to play it. Yeah, the S. Thank you for correcting me. The S is going to be like, hey, I just want to play the game. I don't care what it looks like. I just want to play it. And also the S is going to be, I'll be honest, if I had a kid that was like 10, 11 years old, I would probably try to sell them on the S, to where it's like, they don't need, like, they're 11 and 12-year-old kids. They're not going to, like, they'll notice that, like, it's not as clear as the 4K, but really it's like, most kids aren't going to care about how good the graphics are. They're just going to be like, holy shit, I'm playing this game on Xbox. So, like, that's what I think. Casuals and families are going to go more for the S in my mind, to where it's like, it doesn't matter what the graphics are like as long as it doesn't look like a potato.
Yeah, and especially because it's, with it being digital as well, like, it allows for, like, less clutter to be around the house. So that's why I think, like, families would do that.
Less games just laying around.
Yeah, and especially because it's like, some families, I mean, obviously I'm saying some.
Yeah.
Like, if you're blessed with parents that actually want to play video games with you, one, you're lucky, and cherish every moment you get with that.
Yeah.
Because I asked my dad one time if he wanted to play video games, he basically told me to fuck off and leave him alone.
My dad would always do because back in my day, it was always like split screen multiplayer. And my dad would always get he'd play for a while, but then like after 30 minutes, he'd be like, I gotta stop. I'm getting a headache.
Yeah. So, I mean,
yet again, me as a kid, never understood it. I'm like, I don't know why it's giving you a headache, Dad. Doesn't give me a headache, but I guess things are different when you're older. I don't know. Haven't played a split screen game in quite a while.
I don't know. I played a split screen game recently, and it wasn't too bad.
You're also
I think
10
it's just
years younger than me.
That doesn't really matter.
I think it does.
No, we both grew up with gaming consoles. He didn't.
Yeah, good point. He grew up with the Atari.
Yeah. So it's basically the most he saw was Pong. So
basically,
and that shit didn't move.
Yeah.
If you got a headache from the ball moving, then you may as well not walk anymore. Don't even move.
Atari, and then Sega was his jam also, before I kind of stole it.
Yeah. So then it's basically just as we got older, it's like games have like free moving cameras. They have, because like if he played a side scroller, he'd probably be A-okay.
Yeah, but like
once you start getting to like the modern day shit, because I remember I don't know if I told you the story of when it was when I went back to Modern Warfare 2 for something and I hopped in a game. I fucking like moved the thing and my head just exploded. I'm like, okay, yep, no, can't do this anymore.
Was it just because of how different the graphics have been?
No, how high my...
Nope. Did Soapy cut? Is that a me thing? Huh? Is it a Soapy thing? You cut out. You cut out, my guy.
Okay.
You said, no, you jumped in and then bam, it cut.
Yeah, it was my brain basically exploded because of how high my sensitivity was.
Okay.
Because like I literally sat there and touched the stick, and I was like, oh, I'm like I got taken aback.
Yeah.
I was like, holy! I'm like, was I hopped up on Adderall?
I had that in, it was was it Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare? Because I took like a year or two off from the Call of Duties after Ghost. Yeah, I had Ghost, and I took a year or two off, depending on how much was in between that and Infinite Warfare. And like I came back and like playing, I was like, holy shit! I remember being able to like and like I'd finish games like 30-8 is like a bad game for me. And I was like, I was rocking kids. And then now it's like, I feel like the old man where it's like, I can't do anything. I can't move it fast enough. To where I felt sad. And I was like, holy shit, maybe I need to hone these Call of Duty skills. But that is going to do it for MVP Games Live today. Thank you guys for checking out. Remember, join that Discord link down below in the description, or you can get it !Discord in chat to get that link to join the community, talk about everything you want with the real MVP family. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MVP vids. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also support us by throwing us a sub here on Twitch. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/MVP vids, but you can always catch the shows at MVP Entertainment if you miss them live on YouTube. Soapy and I will be back. Dave is actually not here for Sports Live, so Soapy's going to stay on with me for Sports Live. We're going to take about a 2-minute break, kind of an intermission for us to get everything set up, and then Sports will be coming up right after this. But for everyone watching here and YouTube and Twitch, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.